Hello, everyone. This is JVL here with my best friend, Sarah Longwell, publisher of the Bulwark. Sarah, big news. Jeffrey Epstein, no client list. Everything was on the up and up. He was just a normal pedophile, and he killed himself. They got to the bottom of it.
It's very exciting. As somebody who's been watching this incredibly closely, I'm just kidding. I've never been able to... the Epstein thing, after I read the initial story back when it was in the Tampa Bay Tribune, when whoever broke that story, the female reporter who did it, an unbelievable piece of reporting. But ever since I've read it, that was about as dark as I could go. And so I wanted everybody held accountable who was in that. I was disappointed when Jeffrey Epstein escaped accountability via law. I have listened to many people spin many conspiracy theories, ranging from the Clintons killing him to Trump killing him, or many people having him killed because there's a client list, maybe. And that seems not insane that there's lots of people who flew on his plane, including Donald Trump, including Bill Clinton, people who are known bad actors when it comes to their dealings with women. And so it did always seem like maybe there could be this, but whatever the big 4chan dark web machinations were around the Epstein conspiracy, it basically just became a partisan Rorschach test. Like everything else, your conspiracy theory was a reflection of your politics, more or less. There were, there's data points going in lots of different directions. One of which was that the failure to prosecute Epstein, the guy who failed to prosecute him, was in Trump's first cabinet. I'm blanking on his name right now. And he ended up resigning when it all came out. So that's. But the weird thing is, here's the really weird thing. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of these United States, did this really weird thing when she first got in there, right? Because this was one of the pledges. One of the pledges of the Trump administration was we are going to make all the Epstein files public. We're going to make the client list public. And everyone's licking their chops because they're like, all my enemies are on this list and we're going to use it to destroy them. And Pam Bondi, weirdly, early on, released this big binder to much fanfare. And there was nothing in it. And Laura Loomer blew her up about it. And I want to say maybe, I don't remember if Elon did or not, but it was like a big Nothingburger kind of head fake thing. And now they're like, we looked at everything. DOJ, FBI, Dan Bongino, all over this. Kash
Taking
Patel,
a lot of heat.
all over this. They said they were going to release it. She said, went out, go on Fox News and be like, client list, it's on my desk, it's all being reviewed. Now, and in the interim, only a few weeks ago, Elon Musk says, I'm going to drop a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Nuclear bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. Okay. That's a hot take, Elon. And so today, Axios gets the non-scoop that after careful review by all these people, there's no client list. And Epstein killed himself. There is nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here. JVL, what do you make of all that?
So this is, I think I've said this to you before. Epstein is one, there are a handful of subjects. I mean, really a handful. There's probably 3 of them, which are so bizarre that I would be willing to believe basically anything about them. Anything. And when I say anything, I mean all the way from literally there's nothing to see here. It was all, there is no client list. Yes, he hung himself. All the way to full black hat tinfoil conspiracy. And because of that, the revelation that, hey, there's nothing to see here, I find that to not, it certainly doesn't close any doors for me because I was already willing to believe that, right? And so you can't prove a negative. I'm not saying, yeah, there definitely is something. Maybe this is the truth. I don't know. But I just can't imagine we will ever know this. right?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to know what the truth is when the inveterate liars who run our current justice system, FBI, and presidency, like I am not one to go in for conspiracy theories. That being said, I don't trust anything they say. The idea that Trump was somewhere in
say
there
that they had
and
all
they
the
did it
stuff.
to bury it. Yeah, what's that
They kept
about?
saying, we have the stuff. It's coming any minute. Like, I don't know. Maybe they should
So
have
who
said,
got played here? Who's getting played?
now we've seen it, and we can't give it to you yet, but, you know, you guys ought to lower your expectations. They didn't do that. There was a lot of stoking. It's really, I guess the question I have is, though, can you live by the conspiracy theory and die by the conspiracy theory? Or is everything okay? Because once you live in conspiracy theory land, you just spin up the next one. And whoever is disappointed that you didn't pay off this conspiracy theory, there might be 5 people who are like, oh, that Dan Bongino, they got to him. There are going to be 25 others who are just checking in for the next one. And it's like QAnon, right? You know, QAnon blew up on the launch pad in 2020. And the guy who was QAnon literally did maybe the real QAnon was the friends we made along the way. And so far as I can tell, there was literally 0 people in the world who had been QAnon followers who walked away from that saying, geez, I'm an idiot. I can't believe I followed it. Like, instead, it was all just, yeah, okay, whatever, next. You know, Trump actually won. Then the real conspiracy is that Trump, the ghost ballots and the mules and what. I think that's part of conspiracy theory stuff, that it's okay when it doesn't pan out. You just keep moving on. Nobody pays a price for this. It's like everything else in the world. Nobody pays a price for being wrong. That's my theory. Where are you on this?
I mean, what's interesting is that Donald Trump, unlike other presidents, has really weaponized conspiracy theories to his benefit. Like, normally you didn't get the actual politicians involved in the conspiracy theories, right? Conspiracy theories have been around for as long as human beings have been around. I think that the internet has obviously changed to the extent to which people can indulge themselves in them, like they would play a video game. I think it's a way, and this is like my central thesis of human beings, is everybody's so deeply lonely that like they want to sit online and be friends with people and have, you know, it's like playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like, here's another, I mean, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, so I don't know if this really tracks. Or sports, anything else that you build community with, right? Is like around these conspiracy theories. And so, yeah, I mean, you're right that nobody pays I mean, did anybody pay a price for Frazzle Drip and Comet Ping Pong and the
Birtherism?
The ring? Yeah,
right.
Birtherism. But I mean, that launched Donald Trump's career.
Right.
And it is
no
just,
price to be paid.
No, it's just partisanship, right? It's like, this is what people on the team talk about. And I think that the further you maybe go up, I don't want to call it the seriousness chain, but like people who sort of know better, then there's kind of a winking way about it that people do that's more of a, well, who knows? And then there's a bunch of other people who just don't pay attention, right? Like, there's a lot of Republicans. Like, when I do the focus groups, I would often ask about QAnon, and it'd be nobody to one person or 2 people, but it was never some dominant strain that you heard so many people talking about. That was the interesting thing about election denialism, because that was very mainstreamed. But again, it went in sort of tiers. There were the people who were like, the ghost of Hugo Chavez, switch the ballots in the machines.
Right.
And then there's the people who were like, the pipe burst in Georgia. And then there were the people who were like, you know, it's because they changed the rules during COVID and they rigged the thing, or just Democrats cheat. I don't know. And, you know, so they can all sort of tag in somewhere on it. But it's just partisanship games from people who are bored and lonely and looking for a reason to better hate their enemies.
Let me ask you one other question. So there's an element to politics and partisanship which is about not wanting to affiliate with people, right? It's a negative polarization. Sure. And so I think we could both agree that there are a bunch of people who looked at politics over the last 4 years and said some version of, look at that Palestinian activist up at Columbia yelling nasty things about the Jews. I'm not going to be part of a party which houses them. Leave aside that Palestinian activist did not actually vote for Joe Biden and called Joe Biden Genocide Joe, and also did not vote for Kamala Harris. That Palestinian activist, that sort of woke example, that archetype, was coded as he's a Democrat, and so he's more of a real Democrat than Kamala Harris is. Why that is, I don't know, but whatever. But that same person does not look at the mouth-breathing QAnon insane person and say, well, I'm not going to be in a party with that person, right? And there are a lot more of those folks. There are a lot more of like QAnon chemtrail types than there are Palestinian activists at Ivy League universities. And yet there is no, I can't be in a party with these insane people. Why is that?
Well,
I mean, first of all, is it right? Is what I'm saying correct? Is that a real thing? Or maybe it's not.
I think it's a little bit right. I mean, I think even so like the Palestinian activist that is saying anti-Semitic things, or doing, from the river to the sea stuff, I think that many of the Democrats like didn't want those people in their party, right? Like it became a real wedge in a way that bankers who say, I understand, I think Republicans are going to be better for the economy. I think they're going to be better for deregulation or whatever it is they tell themselves that's going to benefit them. And they just don't care that Marjorie Taylor Greene is in that coalition too. Now, I do think it mattered to a bunch of the college-educated suburban Republicans who were Republicans who, voted for Mitt Romney, voted for John McCain. But those people are all Democrats now. Like it did matter to a certain group of people. And most of them realigned themselves. Like there has been a great realignment. The parties are comprised of fundamentally different types of people, which is one of the reasons that I think it used to be that the parties could sort of roughly do similar things and appeal to people, whereas now their voters are so different from each other, regionally, educationally, that I think it just is like people are always like, well, why don't Democrats just lie to everybody like Trump did? Why don't they just lie and say, I'm going to make groceries cheaper?
Excellent question.
Why do they say something like, why do they say opportunity economy? And
I'm going to bring down housing costs. Your mortgage will be lower and your rent will be lower. Vote for me. Just say that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be true, right?
Right. But see, Democrats, they have a bunch of people who sit there and be like, well, can they do this policy? Is it workable? And all their college-educated voters sit there and being like, well, this and that and that. And this is why there's a Pete wing, and this is why there's a Bernie wing, right? Versus on the Republican side now, maybe there's
just
still
all
like
Cletus. It's all Cletus.
No, it's not all, but it is much more non-college working class voters who and also the conspiracy theorists, the crystal lovers. They have forged the bankers. They've forged into one really weird coalition that is sort of grounded in negative polarization and grievance.
It's wild. All right, the other big news is that we got a new political party. Elon Musk's America Party is here. Can you feel the excitement?
I don't know. Elon's been one of the main clowners of the Epstein files not panning out. He is all over the interwebs right now, making fun of everybody who did it. And I think he's having a good old time. But we should talk about that on the other side of this podcast.
Oh,
don't you think?
The other side where Bulwark Plus members go?
Subscribers only. Let's go talk Elon.